This can't be some hell of a camp, boys. It's going to be one hell of a camp. And I guess seriously, you can way better this camp. Keep calm and wallop people. Good job. We're getting into the game here. Camp 100%. This is, yeah? We're going in here 100%. I'm going into this fight 100% Conor McGregor. Not 92. 100% Conor McGregor. So it has to be really meticulous. We were right there with the last one. As a unit, we do it, right? Let's go, let's go.
Ecstatic with the opportunity that lays ahead of me. And I look very forward to my return.
Go. Oh.
I feel there's so much left for me to conquer in this game. So much more accolades, more belts, more knockouts, more records, more cash.
Right.
Nobody's shooting for takedowns here. They're going to have a fight.
I am taking everything of what I have built.
Tonight's training session, the goal is to focus on speed,
Again. 1,
accuracy,
2,
and
3.
sharpening up skills.
Seconds out.
Well, we've done a great training session. 12 rounds, high pace, with sprint rounds thereafter to finish.
Conor's in fantastic shape. I've never seen him look so good before. Combining Conor's accuracy with the power that he has now, he's unstoppable.
With fight week rapidly closing in, Conor McGregor has moved into the critical final days of his training camp in Dublin, fine-tuning every last detail of his preparation before his long-awaited return to competition inside the octagon.
Feeling good? Feel amazing.
Yeah. It is a different animal entirely that is in front of Max Holloway here. And he's going to feel every bit of it.
Sprint round 6, final round.
With your ability to make someone miss, it's going to be corners. You know what I mean? Right. And you have that ability. And you're never going to lose that. You have the ability to make people miss. Combinations will come in your mind then, you know what I mean?
Contributing to the mounting anticipation, McGregor is said to be radiating complete self-assurance as the bout draws near, dismissing any questions surrounding his conditioning or competitive sharpness after such an extended absence. His latest sparring footage has been described as vicious and eye-opening, reinforcing the growing narrative that this training block feels distinctly different and more focused than anything he's displayed in recent memory.
Thirty seconds.
Meanwhile, the decision to compete at welterweight has ignited considerable discussion across the MMA community, with McGregor justifying the choice as a smarter and more sustainable approach for his frame, even as he avoids making any concrete promises about how that shift will actually impact his output once the cage door closes, leaving supporters and skeptics alike questioning whether the added size will enhance his threat level or leave him vulnerable to Holloway's relentless tempo.
You know, I seen Max and Charles starved themselves the last time out at 155 pounds for the BMF. I didn't think there's anything BMF about it. Who's the baddest man in a sauna? So I'm a big boy now. 170 pounds is my frame. And I like it. I thought I'd give a gift.
Well, I like it as well.
And say, this is what it should be, instead of fighting and cutting him.
Looking beyond the immediate clash, McGregor projects himself as the victor come July 11th, and even entertains the notion of running it back with Holloway a second time before the calendar year closes. Holloway, meanwhile, remains locked in on the present moment, making it clear that his drive stems from a desire to finally correct the narrative of that early career defeat to McGregor, a loss that has lingered in his mind ever since.
In Conor's words, you know, I don't even think that's a loss. He said he only count finishes.
You said the best boxer. We're gonna see. We're gonna see now.
Brother, this is not his last fight. I'm gonna go there. July 11th, I'm gonna handle business. We're gonna have a rematch at the end of the year.
July
I'm gonna go out
11th
there,
can't
get
come
him
soon
finished.
enough.
I'm gonna be 1-0.
Sean O'Malley weighs in with real enthusiasm, confessing he's still processing the reality that McGregor is truly stepping back into the spotlight, boldly forecasting a knockout victory for the Irishman over Holloway, despite the Hawaiian's proven ability to absorb punishment throughout a lengthy and brutal career. O'Malley draws a sharp contrast between the two men's physical mileage, arguing that McGregor's body has broken down in a fundamentally different manner compared to the accumulated structural damage Holloway has absorbed across countless grueling championship rounds.
Conor McDaddy is back. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm so excited.
I can't believe it. I think he's gonna knock out Max. Bro, Max has been through so much by now.
He has been through a lot. He's been through a lot of wars, but so it's either Conor, who's been out for 5 years, doing a little bit of nose lattes.
He's been doing a lot.
So he's been hurting his body in a different way. Max has been hurting his body from fighting.
Greg is gonna knock out Holloway. That's my prediction. Holloway, I don't know. I feel like big opportunities like this he's just gonna miss, bro. And this is the perfect opportunity for McGregor to come back.
Pushing that perspective further, Sean argues that a stoppage would serve as the most powerful possible statement for McGregor's return, though he concedes that even a decision victory would carry significant meaning, given how infrequently Holloway has been outpointed across his entire career at the elite level.
I mean, a knockout would just be a f***ing statement, but if he goes out there and beats Max in a decision, that would almost be... I mean, KO and Max, Ilya did it. I think that's the only person that's really ever did it. Max is coming off a 5-round. Charles took him down 5 rounds. So they both really need a win here, but if Conor goes out there and beats Max in a decision, a 5-round decision,
could be.
You got to give him Gaethje. You got to, dude, that would line up so perfect. Max versus Gaethje, if Max goes out there and beats Conor, you could redo that. The first fight, Max beat him. But Conor, he's back. Did you listen to him on the Ariel Helwani pod at all?
He's looking sharp.
He's focused.
When it comes to McGregor's tactical blueprint, Belal Muhammad places all the focus on securing a knockout as soon as humanly possible, ideally landing the finishing blow inside that opening 5-minute frame before his advantages begin to erode. That sense of urgency connects directly to larger worries about whether his endurance and physical acclimation to welterweight will survive the deeper rounds, if Holloway drags him into extended exchanges.
I think we got to go all in. This first round, those first 5 minutes, try to knock him out, try to hurt him. We've seen it's possible now, right? So Poirier knocked him out. Before that, we thought Holloway had the best chin in the world, can't get knocked out. Now we saw it's possible. So you just got to find that spot. I think you got to get in his face, get him backing up, get him toward the fence, and use your hands, right? Even earlier in your career, you're doing a lot of more kicks, spinning kicks, side kicks. I don't think you're going to have the confidence to kick, especially with that shin. So it's going to be boxing. So we got to get into the boxing range. Holloway's so good at keeping.
Flipping to Holloway's side of the tactical equation, Belal argues he should prioritize controlling distance and pumping out high-volume combinations from range, while sprinkling in takedown attempts designed to drain McGregor's cardiovascular reserves early and exploit any stamina deficits stemming from the extended layoff. He underscores that maintaining strict awareness of McGregor's devastating left hand must stay at the forefront of Holloway's mind from bell to bell, because one perfectly placed counter from that weapon could flip the entire narrative of the fight in an instant.
Keys to victory for Holloway: prolong the fight. Stay longer combinations. Don't be in the pocket with them. Use your jab. I think that spin kicks to the body, stabbing kick to the body, that side kick you do to the front leg, just to see if he still has that confidence in the leg, right? And I think working off of that, even adding in the takedown, pushing him to the fence, wear on him a little bit, get past that first round, get past those first five minutes. I think once it gets to the second round, Holloway is the king of cardio.
Expanding on that theme, Belal simplifies the equation, noting that McGregor's most realistic avenue to victory flows directly through his boxing precision, given that throwing kicks opens him up to unnecessary danger, and attempting to wrestle introduces even greater hazards against a skilled featherweight. Layering in additional reasoning behind his prediction, Belal cites the cumulative effects of years removed from active competition and the incomplete physical recovery as the core factors pushing him toward favoring Holloway, with his official pick being a late stoppage in the Hawaiian's favor.
It's going to need to be your footwork moving in on him, and then when he tries to lateral move out, that's where the big hook could come in, using your lead hand to set up that straight left and just trying to land that punch. I think that's your only path to victory is to get a finish. Good to get a knockout. We saw him get controlled his last fight by Oliveira in a grappling match. I don't want to test your cardio with that grappling, so I think it has to be boxing McGregor. That's my keys for McGregor. You got to knock him out. For my pick, I'm going with Holloway, I think. 5 years off, 5 years of drugs. It's going to be 5 years of recovery. It's going to be way too much for McGregor to come back. Holloway's hot. I think he's going to be motivated after that loss, and more motivated now, even after Justin won that fight.
Shifting to Tim Welch's perspective, he recognizes the undeniable energy and spectacle that accompanies any McGregor fight week, emphasizing that whenever Conor is involved, the press conferences, face-offs, and behind-the-scenes content become essential viewing for any serious fan. Yet he also injects a dose of reality, reminding everyone that McGregor is now 37 years old, has spent the previous 5 years navigating life as an ultra-wealthy celebrity, while wrestling with well-documented personal struggles, and has recently embraced faith in a meaningful way, which Welch interprets as a genuinely encouraging development heading into this particular contest.
A lot of excitement in the air. Conor McGregor's fighting. And when he's fighting, there's exciting interviews, there's exciting embeddeds. He's one of the best talkers in MMA. Now, Conor is 37 years old. 37 years old, and the last half a decade of his life, the last 5 years, he's been living as a very rich millionaire, battling the demons that all of us males battle. Especially when you're a rich guy like Conor McGregor, you can have anything, anywhere, any woman you want. It's you battle a lot of demons. In this last half a decade, he's been battling them, but he's found the Lord. He says he's found the Lord.
Circling back to the layoff itself, Tim Welch hammers home the staggering reality of McGregor's absence from competition, reiterating that a full 5-year gap separates him from his last official bout. He pauses to let that number settle in before admitting he's quietly rooting for McGregor to deliver a strong performance, while simultaneously expressing his deep admiration for Max Holloway, both as a competitor and a human being, making it almost impossible for him to root against the Hawaiian. Welch then characterizes the fight as a pure 5-round striking battle, reminding viewers that McGregor is carrying half a decade's worth of inactivity into the cage and competing at a weight class he's never officially tested before, introducing yet another unpredictable variable into an already complex puzzle.
5 years, guys. God damn it. I'm hoping he comes out there. I love Max Holloway, though. Max Holloway is such a good guy. I never want to bet against Max Holloway. A striking match for 5 rounds. Okay, it's a striking match for 5 rounds, half a decade off. He's 170 pounds. 170 pounds. We've never seen him at 170 pounds before. Okay, let's find out. I'm curious what you guys think. The countdown, it's hard to say in the countdown. The countdown, Conor didn't look so great in that footage, but these countdowns are hard.
When pressed about McGregor's striking philosophy, John Kavanagh unpacks the signature pressure counter system that has served as the foundation of Conor's entire career, though he intentionally withholds the deeper strategic layers for Fight Night itself, making it abundantly clear that McGregor's approach has always centered on baiting mistakes and capitalizing on them with precision, rather than relying on sheer volume or outworking opponents through pace alone.
Yeah, I would always describe him as a pressure counter fighter. Applies an enormous amount of pressure without falling into the clinch, but just puts enough pressure on the opponent to swing at them. There's a perfect example there. Get him to swing at him a little bit out of balance, and then it's just that beautiful slight head movement to slip a shot and then still in range for a big counter.
Building on that foundation, Kavanagh and the coaching staff revisit a critical sequence during a previous bout where McGregor sustained an injury partway through the fight, yet rather than retreating or visibly reacting to the damage, he simply intensified his focus and maintained his output, showcasing that icy, unwavering mentality that has defined his championship tenure. They explain how the vast majority of fighters would have crumbled, or at least displayed some outward sign of distress, but McGregor's demeanor and striking volume remained virtually unchanged, as though he had mentally erased the injury from his consciousness entirely and refused to let it alter the course of the fight.
Obviously, I do a bit of everything, but my thing is MMA grappling, so I was super excited to see takedowns.
So it was great for everyone to see as well.
I think, for a lot of people, it's like, oh.
You can grapple, yeah.
And there's not a lot of people that have done singles and doubles on Max. He's shown a really good ability to deal with singles and doubles. A little bit more open to body lock stuff, but singles and doubles, and Conor hit a bunch of them, was super impressive.
Reflecting on McGregor's psychological makeup, John Kavanagh revisits earlier fights, specifically highlighting the Dave Hill matchup as a textbook example of Conor's stubborn pride and competitive ego, where despite having every opportunity to keep the fight on the feet and play to his strengths, McGregor deliberately chose to engage in grappling exchanges purely to silence critics who questioned his ground game and prove he was just as effective in those positions as he was with his striking. Kavanagh clarifies that McGregor could have easily avoided those risky scenarios and taken the safer tactical path, but his desire to prove a point overrode any strategic caution.
I'll never forget the Dave Hill fight as well.
Yeah.
And he just, like, everybody's like, God, Conor's not going to be able to deal with Dave on the ground. And it was like, if Conor just done it to prove a point, I was going to submit him. All you want, Conor had a 100% knockout rate. So I'm like trying to get him to stand up, don't do it. And he's like, nah, we're going to sub this fucker.
That's the instability, yeah.
Yeah, you can see he's hopping on it.
Look at this.
Beautiful.
That's a beautiful finish. You'll see here when the bell goes, there's in the corner. That's us in the corner there, and he just turns his head and says to me there. He's like, he's gone.
Chael Sonnen brings attention to the bizarre situation surrounding Max Holloway's standing within the division, pointing out that he just delivered a dominant and impressive performance against Justin Gaethje, a win that under normal circumstances would launch any fighter directly into a title fight. Yet somehow Holloway finds himself trapped in what Chael describes as competitive purgatory, sitting outside the championship picture, despite being one of the most accomplished and recognizable athletes in the entire sport. For Max, this isn't merely a high-profile payday or a nostalgic rematch, it's a legitimate opportunity to force his name back into the title conversation, and a victory over someone of McGregor's stature compels the UFC to stop bypassing him in favor of less accomplished contenders.
It dawns on me from the perspective of Max, I beat the world champion. I want to be world champion. I beat the guy. I just didn't beat the guy at the right time because he didn't then have the world champion. Now, Justin Gaethje, by the way, no matter what he does next, will be fighting for a championship because he's bringing it. So from Max's perspective, right, you could see where an envy would come or a confusion, a frustration, something. You land in this weird purgatory. But let's talk about that. I mean, what should be next for Max? I thought that we've all agreed very clearly Sarukian will be fighting for the title next.
Digging deeper into that analysis, Chael examines how the McGregor bout represents both a golden opportunity and a potential hazard for Holloway, suggesting that a win could reshape everything, but also introducing complicated questions about whether that particular victory should genuinely qualify as a title eliminator, and he deliberately leaves those questions unanswered, implying the fight is simultaneously a career-defining moment and a possible strategic dead end, where victory might still leave him sidelined from the belt, while defeat would mean falling to someone who hasn't won a fight in 5 full years, amplifying the stakes far beyond the surface-level narrative.
And the world is going to look a lot different when Max and Conor get done, right? If Conor wins, it's going to be Conor Gaethje, and they're going to write off, and we're all going to understand it, and you're going to have to pick it up from there. If Max wins, what does Max do? Does he then go and become the #1 contender? Like, Max beating Conor, it's going to feel different than it feels today. Max's star power, Max's notoriety, it's going to be different than it is today. Obviously, nobody could disagree that Max qualifies for, deserves, skill-wise, a crack at Gaethje, considering he already beat Gaethje.
On the physical attributes side of the discussion, the Barnhill brothers flag Holloway's durability as a central element worth examining in their technical breakdown, recognizing his well-earned reputation as an exceptionally tough and resilient fighter overall, even as they acknowledge certain recent cracks in that armor that cannot be dismissed when preparing for someone with McGregor's finishing ability.
Now, Max Holloway, up until recently, I would say, is the most durable fighter in the UFC.
He had never been dropped, right?
Never been dropped until he got, I think Justin Gaethje should have been credited with a knockdown.
Yeah.
But either way, Ilia Topuria was the one that put his lights out for the first time in his career, and It was pretty clear. Charles Oliveira, as you mentioned, also was landing some pretty powerful shots, and Max at 155 seemed to have a little bit more trouble with the power there of an Oliveira.
Right.
And I'm not going to say Oliveira is not powerful. Oliveira certainly can knock you out, but Conor McGregor, if you think about what Dustin Poirier said back when they fought. He was like, man, I could see, you know, the boxing stance was a little bit different and he wasn't quite as fast as he was, but damn, when he hit me with that shot, man, I was like, this guy's still powerful as hell.
Oh yeah. Diving into the technical stance dynamics, the Barnhill brothers dissect the complexities inherent in an open stance confrontation between a southpaw and an orthodox fighter, noting how that alignment alone fundamentally alters the rhythm and tactical flow of any striking exchange. They stress the importance of the lead foot battle and distance management as absolutely critical elements in this specific pairing, proposing that Holloway's footwork intelligence and lateral mobility could serve as essential tools in minimizing the constant danger presented by McGregor's left hand.
There's just less left-handed people in the world than there are right-handed. So if you are a southpaw and you've been coming through a gym or you've been coming through the rankings, you're used to seeing ortho more than orthodox guys are used to seeing southpaws. Now, I'm sure Max Holloway has filled all of his training rounds lately with southpaw fighters and is looking at tactics from the open stance, but Conor McGregor has the experience in the open stance, and he's also really good with some of the primary tactics, like, for instance, doubling up with the power side, right? Whether that's you throw a jab up here to feel, and then you throw 2 times with the left hand, or you throw the left hand and then follow it with the left side.
Regarding kicking tactics, the Barnhill brothers explore whether Holloway might incorporate a heavy dose of leg kicks reminiscent of Dustin Poirier's approach against McGregor, designed to disrupt his timing and systematically break down his mobility as the rounds accumulate. On the other hand, they introduce the alternative possibility that Holloway could completely abandon that outside striking game in favor of a relentless pocket-heavy war, relying on his superior hand speed and overwhelming output to simply drown McGregor in volume at close range and force him to fight in a phone booth.
Some pressure, lead leg heavy, he starts to try to walk you down. He also, in his later years, more recent fights, has been super bladed. And we saw Dustin Poirier really exploit that and start to chop that calf, and it really was affecting Conor. After about 3 or 4 landed, then he was starting to wobble, had the Bambi legs a little bit. So I want to see how much Max is willing to kick, because if Max is willing to kick, then I think he does slightly have an advantage on the feet. If he's not going to kick, and we don't really know, right? He was really confused when Charles Oliveira came out for the BMF fight and just started grappling, and I don't think that Max Oliveira, I don't think Max Holloway is going to come out there and just give Conor the exact.
That completes the comprehensive breakdown of Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway as we approach UFC 329, where McGregor's legendary power and southpaw advantages stand directly opposed to Holloway's proven toughness, relentless pace, and burning desire to correct a decade-old loss that has haunted him since the early stages of his career. Every analyst seems to agree that this matchup defies easy prediction and carries genuine uncertainty heading into fight night. Will the Notorious reclaim his throne and silence every doubter with that iconic left hand? Or will the BMF champion finally erase that blemish from his record and demonstrate he has grown into the superior fighter over the past 10 years? Share your picks and predictions in the comments section down below. And if you found value in this breakdown, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you stay updated on all our content and coverage as we count down the days until July 11th. Appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.